Hi there, David Lee again for the James Bond dossier on Wednesday the 13th of February 2019. And if you watched or listened to yesterday's episode, I mentioned that I was going to talk about the short stories, and I think my main reason for doing that was that many Bond fans don't know the books at all, and in fact many people don't even read one novel a year. So if that's you, an easy way to get into the Bond books is to try the short stories first. So this is my copy of For Your Eyes Only. It has 5 different short stories in there, and it's a mixture of stories. 3 of them are mini Bond adventures, and 2 of them are a bit more Ian Fleming going off-piste a bit to explore what he can do. So I'm going to cover them each in order. So that means today I'm going to start with From a View to a Kill. And as a kid, it was one of my favourite short stories because it really does have many of the classic Bond elements all in one story. It's about 35 pages, something like that. And it doesn't take you long to read, but it has got drinks. It doesn't exactly have the food, but Ian Fleming discusses the restaurants in Paris. It has some action. It doesn't have Bond on a car, but he does go on a motorbike. What else is there? There's a girl. There are some Russian agents. He's up against an American colonel. So it's got quite a few elements that if you read the books, you'll recognise them. And it's a really good story. I love it. It starts out with a dispatch rider, motorcycle dispatch rider, being hijacked by some Russian agents at the beginning of the book, and Bond just happens to be in Paris on his way back from a mission that we understand went a bit wrong. So he's kind of drowning his sorrows in Paris. He doesn't particularly like Paris anymore, and we find him at a cafe. Just ordered a drink. It's an Americano, which is Cinzano. It's Campari, and it is soda water. So one of the things, if you go back to Casino Royale, in fact, it's the first ever James Bond drink, and somebody a couple of years or so ago, they emailed me. I think they'd read it in my book that it was a cocktail, because he'd always assumed reading Casino Royale that Bond was ordering a coffee in a bar, which he found a bit weird. So, but in From a View to a Kill, it's very explicit. The recipe is given, and we learn that Bond prefers the drink with Perrier because it improves the drink massively. And it doesn't seem to be a drink he particularly enjoys. He describes it as a musical comedy drink, and so I don't know why he didn't drink something else. I don't know, just a nice cool beer might have suited him a bit better, but there you go. So he's sitting there when he sees this car kind of career across the road. It's a bit battered, but it is driven by a rather beautiful girl. So Bond's eyes are peeled. Then she gets out of the car after just dumping it on the pavement, and she heads straight to his town. It turns out to be a certain Mary Ann Russell, who works for the local MI6 station, and she tells him crash dive, which means there's something big going on and Bond is needed. And of course he is asked to look into the circumstances about the missing motorcycle courier, which he then does. He goes to the local. He goes to the headquarters of SHAPE, which, for the life of me, I cannot remember what that stands for at the moment. It says it in the book. It's something to do. It's some NATO thing, and it's headed by an American colonel. Bond checks in there, takes a room there, but he does not get on with the colonel. spends a few days investigating, talking to the dog handlers, and all this kind of thing before he goes to and he investigates the scene where the motorcycle was found with a dead dispatch rider and his missing cargo, if you like, and he works out what must have taken place and goes back and with a team of I guess it's French police, and they managed to round up the Russian team that is there undercover. I think there are 4 of them. But crucially, at the last minute, Bond's life is saved by Mary Ann Russell. So it's all there. It's as I said, it's got the booze. It mentions restaurants. It's got it's got Bond up against authority. It has got a bit of adventure. It's got the girl. It's a complete Bond adventure, and the Russians even have a reasonable gadget there. So it's one of the things about these short stories, though, is that because they came from a aborted James Bond television series, and Ian Fleming wrote some screen treatments for this American production company. I think it was ABC, but I could be wrong there. And he when that didn't turn out, he took those screen treatments and turned them into short stories instead of writing his annual novel, and it became this. And I think because of the origins of the stories, they are very, very visual, and it's a real pity that From a View to a Kill has never been made into a short film or television program, because I think it would work really, really well. It just seems very, very visual to me. Could just be my reading of it, because I know the background, but there you go. So I recommend you head over to Amazon or a second-hand book market if you want a battered copy like this. The thing about old paperbacks I love, or the old ones at least, I don't know if they still do it, is you get this kind of vanilla smell after they've aged a bit, and that's kind of a smell of my childhood when I used to read late into the night with my vanilla scented books. I have no idea why it's vanilla, but there you go. And or Kindle, I don't care which way you read them. They are some really good books, and if you haven't read the Bond books before, they're a great way to get started. So if you like this podcast or videocast or multicast, how's that? JamesBondDossier.com/listen or /watch, or you might be watching this on Instagram. So your choice. If you've got anything to say, leave a comment. Just keep it polite, and we will go from there. Okay, see you tomorrow. Bye.